What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys. We had another town hall today. There was a lot in it. I actually didn't even get a chance to listen to it twice, but I wanted to make sure that I got this out to you over the before the weekend, just because this is going to be a busier weekend for me. And so here we go. For anybody who might be new to the channel or new to the series, every time there is a town hall for Splinterlands, I do my 5 biggest takeaways, which is just the 5 things that stuck out to me the most. And, this is not a full summary. There's other fantastic content creators who put together full summaries and live streams and videos. I highly recommend you go check them out and support them. But for me, this is just the 5 things that stuck out. And I will apologize ahead of time because my notes were just so lengthy that there's so much to cover that I usually don't talk about like the Tuesday release or this release. And I just put 5 things, and then I also put a bunch of bonus items. So I don't want to make this video super long, but I will try to rip through as much as possible. So next Tuesday on the 20th, part of the usual maintenance update, we have a bunch of, I would say, smaller things, quality of life things coming into the mix. There's going to be a new rule set. There's going to be a new land shop page that'll have all the different items that you can buy. A lot of the stuff is just getting reworked. You'll be able to buy merits or use merits to buy blood and power stones. So it's a bunch of just small things that are all, kind of combined, right? They just add up into a lot. And so, I'm sure investigators sweating bullets, but, he's knocked it out in the past many times, knocked it out of the park many times. So I'm sure everything will go fine. Now, the second part is that they talked about a future release, which will be coming on Thursday. And I'm sorry, I didn't put a date here, but Thursday, this is going to be the 29th. So 2/29, the last day of February. Now, they don't usually do release dates or, releases on Thursdays, but this is an exception because they were waiting until the end of the season. And so the end of the current season is going to be at that time, I believe. And they have the new ranked rework coming to the mix. Now, keep in mind, they did brand this as like phase 1 of the rework, and we're going to get actually into number 3. This is not going to touch the rewards because they have a whole other thing planned for the rewards, and hopefully that'll be coming down sometime in the future. But at least for how ranked is going to work, this is all of the changes that seem to be confirmed as of today, and all the things that will be coming into the mix. So there will no longer be league match requirements, which means, if my understanding of this is correct, and I did try to even ask Investigator during the town hall, you can play whatever cards you want. You can play the max level cards, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter where you're at, right? You will be able to play, and you're going to get ranked or matched with people who are near your ranking. So the league that you are in, right, gold, silver, diamond, whatever, doesn't matter so much as like the rating that you have and finding people close to you. Now, obviously, if you are playing at the lower levels and you rent a max level deck, you should, in theory, be able to rise the ranks relatively quickly. But, the fact that like the league match requirements means like, hey, if I'm in gold, I have to get matched with someone in gold. That's just not going to be the case anymore. A lot of people would be bullies at the top of gold and, beat down on the people who are lower whenever there's low match liquidity. Well, now that's not going to be the case. You will have to fight somebody around your thing. Now, maybe there's nobody playing and that's who it matches you up with. And, I'm sure there's still going to be situations like that. But, if you're at like a 2,800 rating and, there's somebody in diamond who's at like 2,850 and, they have a max level deck and you're playing with a gold level deck, well, good luck. I mean, that's going to humble you relatively quickly. And so the idea is they want everybody to be at roughly a 50% win rate, right? You should win enough games that you get to a 50, like the place that you're at means that the competition is so good around you that you are winning half the time and losing half the time. And that's why you're kind of like at whatever that rating is. So we'll see how that whole thing works. Now, you will not be able to decline advancing leagues. So right now, whenever I make it up into diamond, for example, I choose not to enter in until the last minute, right? The last day. And you won't be able to do that anymore. So, that's going to be an interesting thing. Here's my favorite part probably about the whole thing. Leaderboards will only be in champ. So they are removing leaderboards from all the other leagues, which makes me super happy because there were 4 other leagues, bronze through diamond. And actually you multiply that twice because it's not just that, but also not just modern, but also in wild that we're paying out a bunch of DEC. So hopefully we should be reducing the amount of DEC that gets printed every season or every month, which I think is about 15 million per month. So if we can reduce that even just a little bit, that'll be super helpful. Just leave it for champ. If people want to play at the top and get the best prizes, they got to be the best. So I'm excited for that very much. And I know a lot of people are going to feel differently about this, but that's something that I was really hoping that they would do, that they would only put leaderboards in champ. It sounds like the ELO system changes are going to be very flat, where it's just going to be plus 20 or minus 20. But I believe if you have win streaks, it will allow you to kind of stack that up all the way to plus 40. So, if you're on a good streak, you can still, rise the ranks relatively quickly, which would be pretty good. It also looks like they're extending Novice League. So I believe this only goes to 100 rating, but now they're going to push it up to 260. I'll be honest, I don't quite remember the reason that they said that, but I guess it gives folks a little bit more of a chance. Well, I guess if it's not 10 points per win and now 20, it gives them 13 matches rather than 10 matches to be able to, get their bearings of what's going on. And then probably another important part here, playing with underleveled cards will no longer be a penalty on your earnings. So you can play with lower level cards because let's say you are just that damn good playing with a silver level deck up in diamond and you're killing it and you're kicking ass. Well, I mean, maybe you should be getting now for all the people who are arguing about that. Well, now you should be able to get the rewards that you are owed if you can do it. I highly doubt you'll be able to, but maybe there'll be some opportunities. So I don't know what's not going to work here. I don't know how the ratings inflation and all that stuff is going to play out, but I am very excited for this change. And I think the team is going into it with a very open mind and a very kind of transparent, look at this, or, honest look at this and saying let's start from the ground up and then let's see what's not working and make changes. So, again, this is coming by the end of the month, which kind of goes to my conspiracy theory. Even though Matt addressed it and said he's not thinking about killer whales, I don't know. To me, it's just this ranked rework was not anywhere on anybody's radar going into the new year. And now here we are less than 2 months into the year where it looks like at least the first phase of this is going to be entering into, production. So this is exciting. And I hope people are looking forward to it as much as I am. I won't be able to stay in gold and be a bully in top gold. Not that I was ever really a bully. Maybe I was, just because I was able to be around the top leaderboard. But I personally am just excited that we are going to get a significant change, and this could be massive for the entire game and make the experience better all around. Okay, now expanding on that, number 3, the upcoming reward rework that's going to go hand in hand with ranked. Now, this is not going to go live right away, or it's not going to go live on Thursday. My hope is that we get to see it, sometime maybe in March. I'm guessing there's probably going to be another 2 release dates in March, or another 2 Tuesdays, but we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Here are some of the details that they said. All right, so the reward system rework is coming in the next few months. The reward point shop is something that they want to install. So now, instead of getting reward chests, you can just use your R shares, and I guess those will count as reward points, or those will translate into some kind of reward points that you can then go and redeem in a point shop. And you'll be able to buy soulbound reward cards, like the chest for soulbound reward cards. You'll be able to choose what level that chest will be. So it could be bronze, it could be champion, and of course the prices will be there set accordingly. So you can kind of mix and match and choose what you want. In the future, they want to add a lot of other things to this too. So maybe things that are helpful for your land, you'll be able to buy in there, right? Things for your guild, cosmetics things, cosmetics, all this stuff. Now, keep in mind, it's all gonna be soulbound, right? And they want to keep the rewards all soulbound, but it's exciting to think about what they could add in the future, just to make this kind of a revolving marketplace, or not marketplace, but just a revolving shop that has cool things that, you can save up for or not. And this is something that I think is important, where, Matt once again brought up the idea of, if people want to just save their reward shares or reward points, and as soon as the new soulbound reward cards go live in the summertime, they just, buy a bunch of soulbound card chests, they can do that, right? Because they have the discipline to not spend on stuff sooner. So again, I'm excited for this. I hope it comes through. The only other shop that we've ever heard of is this voucher shop that never made it 2 years later. So I don't want to get my hopes up too much for a reward point shop, but I think they have to do it at this point. So I'm just throwing a little salt there to keep things interesting. So the reward point shop is something that I think would be cool. Moving on. There is not going to be any more SPS in reward chests. I think this is a very underrated thing, and I'm going to have to make a separate video on it because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to that. What they want to do is just create 2 separate pools. So instead of there being 4 pools, right, 2 for modern, 2 for wild, and in modern, right? Each modern and wild will have 1 for reward chests and 1 for ranked battles. I think they want to just put this all towards ranked battles. And then you take your reward points and you can go buy stuff. So what does that mean? Well, we'll probably be doubling the amount of rewards you'll be able to earn from playing the actual game, which is really exciting. So I'll maybe expand on that in another video just because there's so much to cover here. But that was like an underrated comment that, I heard it. I'm like, wait a second. So there's a chance that I could be winning double the amount of SPS per game, because that, again, if SPS starts to go up, I had like a target in mind of like what the price needs to be in order to make sense, right? Now, granted, all this should still play out kind of similarly in the end, but you just don't have like the jackpot reward chest up in Diamond and Champion anymore. But ultimately, I think that it actually streamlines how you can calculate your returns on average if you know how much SPS that you're getting, how much SPS is being paid out. So for all the people that do like to track that, I think it could be really interesting. And then there will be an option potentially to dust your soulbound cards. If you want to burn your soulbound cards, you may have the option to do that for reward points. So everybody sitting on extra cards right now, you'll actually have something to do with them. Now, you won't be able to burn them for DEC, and the reward points that you burn them for will be soulbound and will not have any monetary value. But if you're able to go and turn them into chances, right? You can't buy the cards themselves, but if you can turn them into chances at getting higher level or a lot of cards, right? So, some of these like champion level chests get like 11 cards per chest. So if you can turn it into that could be pretty good. And it changes the way in the strategy in which people engage with the game. It actually makes it more of an opt-in rather than like an or something that just happens automatically. And I think that could be great. Okay, number 4, this was interesting. Now we can get into the spicy stuff that was not, about ranked or whatever. So Matt said, this was in the context of the burn event and the team asking for, 100K. And so somebody had asked like, well, if we just keep pulling stables out, why isn't the team going to take, why wouldn't the team just take like, DEC instead or something? And so for Matt, he wants to be able to pull the stables out. And then he mentioned like when the bull run hits, maybe hopefully in the next 2 years or so, or within the next 2 years, he expects the DAO to swap SPS for stables. Now, this is an interesting thing to me because it's not like it's anything new. It's just that I don't think we've really thought about it at length or in depth, just because the idea of a bull run has always felt so far away, and the idea of SPS hitting any kind of like euphoric all-time high has also seemed really far away. It still does in a sense. But here's the thing. What's going to happen the moment somebody puts a proposal out there, whether it's from the team or whether it's from somebody else that says, hey, you know what? SPS is flying high right now. Like maybe we should sell, 10, 15 million SPS, right? For some stable coins. And that might not even be a lot, right? Again, assuming whatever the price of SPS is, maybe we should sell it for some stable coins. How many people, once they see that pre-proposal goes live, they will go in and absolutely front run that trade? I think a lot of people would. So granted, I think that the trades can be done in a smarter way. And I really hope that they find a way to do it in the future where it's like, okay, we're going to do it where it's like if SPS is above this threshold, maybe we just do small buys, right? And it's kind of set up in a bot-like nature where every trade is automatic. But the moment any kind of proposal comes in, a lot of people will, in my opinion, be looking at putting their finger, at least hovering over the sell button, which could make things, again, I don't know how that all plays out, but this is what we asked for. This is what we signed up for with having a DAO, right? This DAO has SPS in it. SPS is hopefully going to be its most valuable asset. And at some point, it's going to have to either sell it or trade it for something, right? For some kind of commodity to somebody else that will then in turn sell it to turn it into whatever they want. So we are going to need to figure out how to navigate that appropriately so that we're not just crashing the market every single time somebody has an idea on how they want to, sell SPS or exchange it for stables. But again, he kind of said the quiet part out loud. I think that this is something that we'll have to think about as we get closer to it. But it was interesting to see where Matt's head was when it came to that. And again, it's not anything new or out of the blue, but hearing it said out loud and then thinking through the implications, it's like, man, if Matt comes on a town hall in a year from now or 18 months and it's just like, all right, yeah, I'm putting together a proposal to sell, a portion of our SPS. I just think a lot of people are going to take that news and be like, yeah, I'm going to sell before the Dow does, right? And that would be the smart thing to do. I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. Like, that would be the smart thing to do. If you know that there's going to be a massive sell, I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. And then finally, the burn event. It looks like there was a lot of feedback, a lot of it good, right? Look, I read through the thing. I did a post here kind of covering it. It's not perfect. I thought that it would include promo cards. I thought that there would be a little bit more to it. I was surprised that voucher and DEC were included. But Matt actually had a good response to that, saying that right now, if they just did cards, there are bot armies that are sitting on a ton of cards, right? A significant percentage of the cards. And if they wanted to, they could come in and just dominate the entire thing if it was cards only. But by adding in DEC and vouchers, you're giving everybody else an opportunity to go and, get something else out of it. So I personally would still like to see vouchers valued a little bit higher than the 5 cents that they have them. But it sounds as though they are going to go back, rework this proposal, probably ask for more money, because if it includes promo cards, then it's going to take a little bit more from the team to actually design, plan that out, see if it all makes sense, and then potentially even push it back into April, which is when the Bitcoin halving is. So there will be 2 separate events now, because they were planning to do a promo card sale around the Bitcoin halving. And I think they were trying to rush and get this burn event out sometime before, by the end of Q1. Now, just with the timing, it probably makes sense to do it all together. You can probably market it in a different way, in a stronger way that way too. But it makes sense if the team was going to be banking on some what's that called? Revenue from the promo card, they'll have to make it up for with the DAO, unless they can find a way where it's just like, if you burn something, maybe the team gets a portion of it. But again, if it's a card burning event, how would the team get a portion rather than like DEC or vouchers or something like that? But that is it for the top 5. Now, there are a ton of bonus items, so I'm just going to rip through these so that we don't keep this video longer than it already is. No major land updates. It just is what it is. Like I said, I feel like my conspiracy theory is coming true. Land is getting the shelf is on the shelf until all these rank reward stuff is changed. It was good to see Farbertrod in Mav chat the other day, or on Discord. So, he's still around and doing some cool stuff. Obviously, their top priority is still the grain LP. But, land is just not going to move the needle for anybody right now. It's just not going to do anything for new players, I should say. So hopefully we do get that grain LP at some point in the near future. But, they're not doing any dates, and it doesn't sound like it's what they're, focused on by any means. So my guess is we get the land or grain LP. I was saying the second half of the year, but I was like trying to be a little obnoxious about it, inflammatory. I don't think we wait until the second half of the year. My hope is if they can get all the rank reward stuff out March and April, then we could potentially see this by May or June. That would be my guess as to when we see the first parts of Land 1.6. But that still goes in line with what I was saying, that we're not going to see Land 2.0 in the second half of the year, at least not the full thing. But granted, maybe we could. I don't know. We'll see what happens. One-click rentals, set rentals, that sounds like it's going to be coming soon as well. Matt said that he's wanted this for a while, and it sounds like they're closer than ever, especially making it a part of the new player experience. Vouchers for energy discount. I believe Investigator said that that's planning to be out by the end of the month too. So that might even come in with this Thursday release, which would be pretty cool. He also said very cryptically, or just he didn't go into detail, that they're kind of reworking how the energy, purchasing works. So I don't know if there's going to be opportunities to just pay maybe only in vouchers or whatever, or maybe they change the prices or the limitations. But I'm curious to see how that plays out for people who want more gameplay. The next airdrop conflict stats were revealed. I did a separate video on that. That's for Kai. The hamstring ability, which is like demoralize on crack. Like you're able to, well, actually not demoralize on crack. It's like very specific demoralize. If you hit someone, then you are able to, if you hit someone, then you're able to take their melee attack down 1. And this stacks. So every time you hit them, it goes down further and further. And if you want more information on this, I cover a little bit more in the video with the airdrop. The new onboarding experience, the only note that I have here is that what's his name? Nate was sharing some really cool screens and eye candy on like what it's going to be like for new players coming in, and to kind of go through this checklist of items that actually look like a tutorial when you first log into a game. So if you want to go check out the eye candy, I thought it was pretty cool. And, they're really going in on this full player experience. Now, Soulkeep, I did a separate video talking about their announcement there, but Matt did add a little information saying that they are contractually obligated, meaning Double Coconut, to release in 6 months, but that they obviously want to do it as soon as possible. So again, I mean, if they announce it today, this is mid-February, we're talking about mid-August, we could see Soulkeep, or that would be the latest. My hope, though, is that we see all this. I feel like the halving is just going to be a fun time. So my hope is that we get to see it by, April, hopefully. So if we can give them 2 months out of the 6 months, if they're very motivated, I think we'll end up seeing it sooner rather than later. And then finally, Matt just mentioned that he sees a lot of opportunities to reduce the SPS distribution, right? He's talked about land before, but he even mentioned LPs and, said that there's probably other areas in which they can take a look. Now, the only other major thing is like node licenses, because everything else is played, right? Or like part of the game. So whether it's ranked battles or tournaments or brawls, he said he doesn't want to touch gameplay because players should be rewarded for that. So the only other place that I could really think of is, there's Soulkeep and Tower Defense, but that's going to be its own separate thing now. It's really just node licenses and LPs. Obviously, with the LPs, I believe, that sushi bond thing or sushi swap bond thing is moving forward. So if that does end up being successful, I wonder how the LPs will potentially change. But I do feel like that is a ways away down the corner. So everybody hoping that we slow down the SPS inflation. I don't think that's going to happen this year, right? Because it's got to be a land 2.0 thing if it's going to be land. Like, they need all that other stuff in order to make land exciting. And then with the LPs, again, maybe it happens. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not thinking too hard about that. I'm not saying that it can't happen or that it won't happen. Obviously, Matt is thinking about it, but it just seems like there's too much on the plate right now. So I would say if any of that does happen, it probably wouldn't be until like Q3, Q4. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Hopefully this was not longer than the town hall. We did cover a lot, but it was a great town hall. It was a great just update from the team. So I am very much looking forward to, the next couple of weeks here. Enjoy this final season before things completely go haywire and we get a whole new system. But that is all I have. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.